Hi, welcome once again to J Lowe Artist YouTube channel. We'll be talking about something called chiaroscuro. Chiaroscuro is Italian, means light and dark, and it's one of the funnest forms of drawing just because it's so dramatic and it's different than the way we usually draw. Let's try some chiaroscuro.
Okay, using Prismacolors on Chiaroscuro is a lot of fun. And it's fast because you're drawing the light areas instead of the dark areas. And sometimes, especially when you're doing it on blackboard, all that black gets left out. So you got to pick and choose. What do you leave out? What do you put in? I've got my 24 set of Prismacolors. Plus, I've added cream to that set because you need cream. And you should have yellow ochre too, but I'm going to use the goldenrod. Got my kneaded eraser, my click eraser, and my white charcoal. So the first thing you want to do is you guys start with the head, and you decide how big you want it. Sometimes I'll just make a little mark and say that's where the chin is going to go. You know, the face part's going to come up here. I'm going to have her hair come up and touch that. So I'm going to just block in like where I think the eyes are going to go and the nose. And just kind of block in. I'm just kind of marking where things go, like the corners of the mouth. A lot of this stuff we're going to get with our Prismacolors, so I don't want to go too much with that white charcoal. There's that shoulder. Now, what's important is not where those stripes are. Although the stripes do help to define the person a little bit, they help define the surface, they contour it, but that's not really what's important. Try to get your proportions down as quickly as you can. And I've kind of already set us up as far as composition goes. You want to relate her arm to the edge of your board. Give yourself a little more room over on the left side. You can even push her shoulder all the way up to the edge on the other side, if you wanted to. So for me, that's almost enough of figuring out where everything goes. I think I'm going to fit everything on there. You know, you get to that point, you go, okay, this is going to work out. This is going to be fine. I might have to go a little bit larger on some things. Then what I do is I'm going to move over to my cream color. Now, instead of using white can become kind of chalky sometimes, especially on black or on a dark board. So I'm going to use my cream color Prisma to go in, and I'm going to just start in all the lightest areas, the warm light areas. Now, some of this light that's coming in through here, you've got to decide, am I going to put warm over here too, like on the shoulder and on the hair? Is that warm light, or is that going to be cool light? And am I going to remain just the warm light that goes through the window? And that's just a decision you make. For me, I'm going to make it so that all this incidental lighting over here is going to be cool. So you could start with the cool colors, which would be like a light blue, a sky blue, or a light purple. Grade violet would be working too, but you kind of decide. It's up to you. I'm going to go with this light violet color. And maybe I'm going to just start up here and just start doing some of the lightest areas with this light violet. And I'm just skipping those dark areas because there is chiaroscuro, right? We're going to be okay. It's chiaroscuro. There's the necklace, just some little dots there. There's her shoulder. So I've decided that all that is going to be very cool colors. And my warm color is going to be this light that's coming in from this direction. Get rid of any charcoal that I want to get rid of. Now I'm going to do, with my cream, I'm going to come in on this other side. And right now I'm not going to worry about the stripes. We'll do the stripes later. I'm just going to do the light areas. You can take your eraser and go through and hit some of those stripes too. But you could also just do some colors on top of that. Because with the cream, it's gonna mix nicely with those anyway. It's a different way of thinking. It is a total different way of thinking. Once you figure that way of thinking out, it'll be much easier. Your mind will make that connection. Yeah. It's going to be fun. And we're going to adjust this as we go. And so at first, this isn't quite what you had in mind. We'll keep adjusting. Most of my charcoal is gone now. I'm looking at this thinking, you know what, there's a lot of incidental lighting up here too. Unless this is part of the lighting, I'm just going to do this little bit of light up here with the yellow, this cream color, and hope it works out. Just look at the spots of light and do the spots of light. There's that incidental lighting going down the other side. Then you got to decide, is this lighting coming off her hair right here, is it going to be warm or is it going to be cool? I just go into the warm side because I figure anything coming from this direction is going to be warm. Anything coming from the other direction is going to be cool. And we'll figure it out. And maybe somewhere in the middle, they'll meet. That's when you do those neutral temperature colors like red, violet, and yellow, green. And since I'm doing violet over here, I think the red, violet would be the best ones to choose. I'm just going to use my eraser here to pick out some of those stripes. I don't see any stripes on the back side. You can kind of figure out, well, only where there's stripes is going to be light. Warm light. Alrighty, now that I've got that mostly figured out, I'm going to go back in with my cream and just hit some of those lighter areas, really push those lights. Now, if you wanted to use some of that paint on here and do the tempera paint for this, you may want to. I mean, if this were me and I was doing tempera paint, I'd probably paint some of these little stripes, just the lightest areas. I'd even paint some of these incidental lighting back in there, and then over the top of that would do cool colors. You start doing this too, you can start refining your edges a little bit. I think my stripes are off. That's okay. So now you can layer on top of that a little bit of yellow or a little bit of red or a little bit of both. That poppy red is a lovely color on top of this. And so some of those colors, like across the cheek, I'm just going to take some of this poppy red, just a little bit in there over that cheek. Just on the edges, just to warm that up a little bit. Something you learn a little bit too is the colors of flesh will change according to how much blood is close to the surface. So oftentimes on the forehead, you get a little more yellow around the nose, get a little more red nose and ears. So I might want to take some of that yellow ochre and add that a little bit too into those little areas. Now that mulberry or magenta is kind of a reddish purple. I'm going to use that in some of these lighter areas. I can go on the top of that with a little bit of blue or even a little cream on top of that. The cream is going to bring out, it's going to kind of counteract the purple, bring out a little more of the red that's in there. And there's, like I said, there's really no recipe here. I'm just kind of figuring this out as I go as well. I'm going to use some of that in her hair as well. I need some highlights over there a little bit, and I'm not sure what to use over there. If I had a really light blue, I'd use that. This isn't extremely light. It's a little lighter than what I've got. So maybe a little bit of blue on top of that purple. I often get comments on how people like my flesh tones. And somebody was talking to me about my artwork at a show, and they said, "Oh, I really like how you do your flesh tones." I said, "Well, which ones, the red ones or the green ones?" And they went, "Oh, yeah. It's not the color, it's the value." I think people don't really realize that you're using crazy colors because your lights and darks are just right. Now, hopefully this is starting to make sense to you. I think a lot of people who don't do art or draw very much, they have a hard time visualizing. In some of those areas, you may even want to lighten up even more than that. Makes me wonder if I stuck a little bit of cream on top of that. Because I've got that blue and purple, is it going to change? Is that color going to change? I suppose, even if it does, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's going to be one of those happy accident colors that you just kind of just all of a sudden get. I'm going to try it. I'm going to just take some of my cream, put it over the top of this, and just see what happens. Might get some green. Maybe from here, I'm just going to start refining my colors a little bit. I'm just concentrating on the values, but doing warm and cool. So cool colors in the shadows, warm colors in the light. You might get halfway through it and go, oh, I don't like that color. That's happened to me more than once. What do? At that point, you just go, try to change it if you want, or just deal with it. If this were a little larger, I'd probably do a little bit of color in her eye. But as the size is, I'm just going to kind of leave it. I don't know. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll put just a little bit of color in her eye. If you go too far with your incidental light, like I'm just going to go a little bit far with it right here. And if you think, oh, you've gone too far with your incidental lighting, take your indigo blue or a dark purple or something. You can go back into that and use that color to darken it up. I suppose you could even take an eraser and erase some of it to get that black back into it. But the color is really kind of interesting. So I think I should have used indigo blue. That's okay. I'll do a little indigo on top of that. I really like eyes, so I always concentrate on the eyes. Her lips are very dark, but I'm going to add a little bit, just a little bit of red. I'm going to keep that top lip, I think, very dark. Just keep layering in your colors. I mean, sometimes just one color is just not going to do it. So you can do several. You layer into it. Oh, that's nice. A little bit of that magenta on top of the cream. So I did the light blue, then I did the cream, and a little magenta on top of that. It brings out some of that purple in there. It really makes it nice. She got a lot of little necklaces and things going on in there. Kind of hard to see. Don't worry about those. Just draw the little areas of light and dark, and you'll figure it out. Your viewer will figure it out too. They understand it's a necklace. This yellow ochre, really nice in the warm areas. You can put that over the top of the magenta, warm it up a little bit. I mean, it can do a lot of things. Dark purple too is another one of my favorite colors. It's not included in the 24 set, but it is in the 72 set, and I love the dark purple. Dark purple, even with a little bit of yellow, is really kind of awesome. So I haven't used white at all. I guess I could, if I really wanted to make things pop, I could go back into it. I like that paint because it's very opaque. And the white paint would mix with the other colors a little differently too. So again, it's kind of up to you what you decide to do. I like the cream. I think the cream is awesome. If you guys want to try that that paint stuff, it's pretty cool too. Remember, it's all about contrast. Try some of that dark purple or indigo blue in the hair too, especially in the shadowy areas. Not the really dark areas, but those that almost look dark. Dark purple is one of my favorites. Just a little bit of violet in there makes that shadow so it's not quite so dark. That necklace is just leave out the darks and throw in some little spots of, I don't know if they're jewels or if they're, I don't know. They look like little berries. I don't know. But it's okay. I think it goes along with her dress. Her dress is kind of sequined and I'm just going to add a little bit of this poppy red. It kind of turns orange over the yellow, over that cream, but it warms up the shoulder, warms up the flesh a little bit. Well, I like that purple over the top of the blue too. It hits a little bit of that poppy red too. Just lovely little colors that I'm getting from there. And it's fun because you never really know quite what you're going to get till you do it, and then you're like, oh, that was fun. I know it feels a little weird. I like those stripes though through there, those cool stripes as they run through there. It's that was really fun. And it was challenging. You know, I get those students that always go, "Oh no, this is too hard. I don't want to do anything hard." Hard means you've never done it before. Hard means that it's challenging. Hard means that you're learning. Well, hopefully you understand your that warm cool assignment a little bit more now. It is easier with a black and white picture. And you don't have to do it on black, by the way. This was just one of those things that were like, oh, it's a lot funner on black. I always miss my dark purple when I don't have it. I revert back to my indigo blue, which is always nice. Indigo blue really will go over just about the top of anything. It's a lovely color. But so will that purple, and I kind of like the way the purple does things. Did you guys try the sky blue in there too? That's really nice. That mulberry or magenta makes a great in-between color because it's got a little warmth and a little cool in it. And if you put it with the purple, it's going to turn more purple. If you put it with the orange, it's going to turn more red. Sometimes I put in too much color, so I like to use that little eraser to just maybe soften some things. I mean, I like the color, but I don't want that much in there. Sometimes I'll just rub a little bit off. Well, don't have a lot of time left. I appreciate you being here. Appreciate you being willing to do something difficult. And hopefully it was rewarding. Art is a wonderful thing. And hopefully it's made your life a little bit better, because art can make your life better. Last thing you want to do to this is put your signature in. A good place for it would be right here by your arm. You could do it over on the other side too, but you don't want to do it right on the edge. I'm going to bring it up a little bit. Somewhere in there, it might be a good place for it. And I hope you all have a lovely day.